Hi, we are talking about some profit and loss variations that we can run to help you dissect your data a little bit easier. So we're just going to go back to the reporting center and over to the standard tab and then click on profit and loss again. And we're starting with our basic profit and loss that we ran in the last module. So I'm going to change this report period to this year to last month, and then I'm going to display the columns by month. So we're just looking at our profitability by month. I'm going to do the cash method here. And let's just start by first running this report. So that, again, is our basic profit and loss by month report year to date. And then from there, we can sort of slice and dice the data a little bit more to see more information. I find it helpful to look at, I'm going to show you two different variations that you can run very easily to see more information. So if we go to the compare another period drop down here, the first one I'm going to select is previous period. And I like to see it in percent change. It's kind of up to you if you want to see dollars or percent. I like to see it percentage wise. Maybe that's the accounting nerd side of me, but that's what I like. And previous period is just comparing, like if you have January numbers, for example, it's going to compare to the previous period, so December 2020. So it's just looking back to the period that happened right before it. So that is what this first report is. So let's go ahead and always remember to hit Run Report once you've selected a setting. So you can see here what's going on. So if we look at this first month, January, it's showing, well, let's look at a month that has numbers in it. So if we look at, and this is a sample account, so it's not the best, but we have our current numbers feeding in August, and then you would have the prior period. So that would just be July, the month right before it. And if you had a full QuickBooks account, you would see numbers in July as well, and then you would see the percentage change. So you can kind of just get an idea of, a lot of things. You can see what your growth is like from period to period. So maybe you had a 5% growth between last month and this month. So you can start to identify trends, and maybe you can look at that across the various income accounts. You can see one account is trending better than the other accounts. Same thing down here with expenses. You can see, maybe you're starting to trend up in a certain expense category. So you can see each month, maybe your software expenses are increasing 5%, and that just, feels like it's getting a little out of control. So you just have more data here that you can play with and kind of understand what's going on. Another thing you might be looking at is maybe you just have a really large percentage change in a certain category and you want to understand why that is. So if you had, say, your income went down 20% from July to August, that would be a little concerning, and you'd want to understand why did my income decrease that much. Maybe you knew that was coming. Maybe it's, the end of the season happened and it's just slower. But, again, you want to look at that information and just try to understand why it happened. And same thing with expenses. You might say you saw a decrease of 30% between July and August in a certain expense account. You might want to check that out. I mean, maybe there was an expense that didn't go through, that was supposed to, or maybe a payment got delayed and it's not going to hit until next month. And again, you're just always trying to understand what these numbers mean. So just take a look at the percentage change, think through it. Does that seem right to you? And you'll get some better data out of this view. The other variation that I like to run, so let's go up back to this compare another period drop down, is the previous year report. So what that is going to do is going to compare to the same period, but in the prior year. So if you're looking at January 2021, it will also pull in January 2020. So you can see how you've changed in comparison to the prior year, which can give you some helpful data as well. So plugged this in, let's hit Run Report. Okay, so now we have, you can see the month that we're showing for this year, and then down below the same month that we're showing for last year. and the percentage change. So let's scroll over again to where we have some numbers, at least a few numbers. So you can see in August, these are the current numbers, and then it would pull in the numbers for August of 2020, so last year, and the percentage change. So now you can really start to understand longer term growth. So you can see, wow, I grew in this one income category, grew 50% from last year. So we're just doing phenomenal in that income category. Or same thing with expenses. You can start to see, wow, our marketing expenses have doubled from last year. Are we okay with that? Do we need to scale back? Or maybe that's what we planned. So again, you're just starting to understand what those changes mean, and just keep looking at it from the lens of, okay, this is what happened this year and this is what happened last year. Are there any takeaways that we can get from that information? And there always are. So you can also understand things like, say, with cost of goods sold, you might see a large percentage change from last year. And, maybe that's to do with inflation. Maybe your vendor's been raising prices, and maybe it's inevitable. It is what it is to be in your business. Or maybe you could switch a supplier, someone a little more cost effective. So just, anything that stands out to you, if you're seeing a large percentage change in a certain category, either up or down, make sure you click around in the numbers, because you can always get the detail, and understand why you think that's happening. And always reach out for support if you need it. But it's just fun to kind of be clicking around in these reports. I always love to see my own business, see when there's good growth, or if I've been able to reduce a certain expense category. That's always kind of exciting. You can do your little dance that you've been doing a great job. So I think once you're in touch with these reports, you'll really enjoy navigating around them.